Hi guys, quick video tonight. I'm up, it's like 11, a little bit late for me. I'm usually in bed at like 10. But I just finished an assignment I had due, and I had an injury a little while ago. Actually, a year ago. I did a triathlon and I sprained my Achilles, which I didn't even know you could do. And then I got like pretty bad tendonitis because I just pushed myself a little bit too hard, didn't really prepare at all, didn't stretch, didn't take care of myself. But all that to say, I am trying to start running again after a year, and I started doing that tonight, so that was quite nice. But that aside, with business, I have actually decided, which is a little bit of a curveball, I'm pivoting tote quite a bit. So I'm not just going to do a grocery list app anymore. The reasoning behind that is, first off, I found a competitor that is doing precisely what I'm doing, except they have already launched and they have active partnerships with businesses like Target and Walmart for inventory management and actually finding prices at specific locations. So they have the data that I don't. So it's much lower cost, and they're already scaled up to I believe like 40 states in the U.S. Which obviously competition means that there's something in the market. It's not a discouragement, not at all what I'm getting at, but more so. I have also been playing around in my free time on an app for myself because I am big into health and fitness, and I eat whole foods pretty much primarily. I pretty much only just eat whole foods. And something that comes along with that is really boring meals. So I get really, really tired of eating the same thing every day. For example, the last 3 months, I've had ground beef, sweet potatoes, and avocados with my dinner probably 4 nights a week. And I cook it well, I season it nice, and it tastes great. But if you eat the same thing frequently enough, it starts to taste disgusting. And so one thing that I found that keeps it very exciting is cooking really healthy recipes. But I'm also human and lazy, and I don't want to take 35 minutes to cook a recipe if I could cook it in 5, get the same macros and everything. And so I've been working on an app that uses AI, and you basically go in and you'll fill in all of your health information. So all of your food preferences, your allergies, down to the specific food that you don't like. And this is targeted at people who eat like whole foods, like healthy, not like somewhat healthy, but like healthy. Um, and you basically just go through intense onboarding. It asks about your height, your weight, your age, your fitness goals, your macro and calorie preferred intakes, all of your preferred foods, what you don't like, your allergies, all of it. And we're going to store all this in a database, and then we have a couple of main features. So the first feature is a browse feature, and so you can go look through Whole Foods recipes. So it'll only show you recipes that include things that you actually will eat, because through onboarding we can basically filter out certain ingredients and foods that you don't want to eat, and it won't show you those recipes. And so it's essentially just like you go and browse really cool recipes. So a good example of one would be like banana pancakes. So for those people out there who are eating super healthy, the banana pancakes are whole foods. So it's just 3 eggs, a banana, and some cinnamon. And you whisk it all together, mash it up, and then you cook that. And that's how you make your pancakes. You load it with fruit and maple syrup. Boom, whole foods, done. Versus instead of using like pancake mix or adding flour and all this other stuff, it's just whole food healthy stuff. And I find that I have been in search for something like that for a very long time, but I personally don't have the patience or the time to write down recipes and follow them. And I also can't be asked to plan out the week ahead of time. And so I feel like I'm like the perfect audience for this, because the way that it works, you go through this onboarding, and then all you do is just browse good recipes, and you can just like them as if it's like social media. You just hit the heart button, and then you can go on your homepage and you can plan out your week. So it's like, man, I'm gonna go to the grocery store tomorrow. I wonder what I'm gonna get. And so you'll go through, and it'll basically take all of the saved recipes that you have, and it'll let you pick what you want to eat this week. So maybe for my breakfast on Monday, I want to have banana pancakes. And on Tuesday, I'm fine with banana pancakes again. But on Wednesday, I want like a Greek yogurt bowl or overnight oats or something. And you go through this process that takes probably 3 to 5 minutes with all of your saved stuff that you like. And you make yourself a meal plan for the week, but it's all good recipes that are tailored specifically to your meal preferences. So the cook time that you prefer, with the cooking utensils or the equipment that you have available, and with the foods that you prefer. And then you'll make this whole plan. There's an option to do meal prep mode, so it'll do all the same food for the whole week. And you just have to pick the meals. You can pick desserts, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, whatever you want to pick. You just basically make the meals. And it'll show you, based on those recipes, what your estimated calories and macros are for the day out of your target. And so what you can simply do is you can scale up or scale down these recipes by dragging on them. So if I want to make banana pancakes and then whatever I'm eating the rest of the day, and I'm at 2,400 calories and 130 grams of protein, and then the rest of my goals are met, but I need 3,000 calories and 200 grams of protein. Well, you can simply hold down on the recipe and drag right or left to scale it up or scale it down. So you can drag to the right and it'll scale the recipe up to like 3x by 10% increments. So it'll triple the recipe and therefore will triple the calories and the protein and the carbs. And you can just fine tune the servings on all of these recipes until your macros and your calories are right. And it's super straightforward. And what I think that this defeats, I guess one-ups in a lot of other apps, is the customizability. Is it's very specific to you and your preferences. And it's not like, I'm 100 calories off. It's like you can fine tune it exactly until you get exactly what you want. And then once you have all those correct, all you have to do is hit the done button and it will go ahead and take all of those items that for all of those recipes, add them all to a grocery list. And this is where we get into the Tote integration. And so this is where I've decided that I'm going to merge them into one app. And so for this, for now, because I don't have the data like this other app does, I'm going to make grocery lists for people and I'll let them pick their store, same thing that Tote does, except I am not going to use AI to search because of the expenses. And instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when people check off all the stuff when they go grocery shopping for these recipes for the week, ask to take a picture of their receipt. And over time, I'm going to build up this database based on people taking a picture of their receipt until I have enough data to be able to run an app like Tote without having to do all the AI costs and barcode scanner costs, because the margins are so low that it's not worth it in my opinion. So that is kind of my plan right now, is instead of having a meal planning app and a grocery list app, I'm merging them into one. And it was a big decision I had to make, but honestly, I was having a hard time with figuring out how Tote was going to work out. And part of me feels like I'm giving up on it. Because I really do like the design and the UI, and I'm not ditching the idea entirely. I just think that this other app is something that would be much easier to scale because there's no expenses, and something that I personally would use a lot more often. And so for me, quality of life, I would just prefer to use that. So I'm working on that instead. And so then the cool functionality of the app is basically from start to finish, you put in all of your preferences for the food. You can go through this cool like little interface to search cool recipes. You can filter them by breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, whatever. You can like your favorite recipes. And then you basically once a week when you're about to go to the grocery store, you'll just go through and you'll figure out what you want to eat that week. And then once you actually are finished picking it, like I said, it makes a grocery list for you based on all of the recipe items required. And then it has a grocery list screen, which is going to be mocked just like Tote is. But this is where I think it gets quite interesting, is as you check off these items on the grocery list when you go shopping, it will add it to the back end under an inventory management system. And so I will be able to track a user's inventory. So if they go to the grocery store and they get 6 apples, when they check off 6 apples, I will track in the back end, this user has 6 apples. And throughout the week, once they've gone grocery shopping, they have a daily view with their calories and their macro breakdowns, as you might imagine, and they have the recipes for that day. They can check off or view the recipes. It's pretty straightforward. But as they check off recipes throughout the week, I will remove the ingredients required for that recipe from their inventory. say they go grocery shopping on Monday and they get all these groceries, and it's now Thursday morning, and they're like, I don't want banana pancakes anymore. And so there's an AI chat feature, and I'm using Claude for this because Claude can use tools, and these tools integrate directly with the Supabase backend, and they can actually do things directly in the app. So, for example, the user's like, hey, I don't really want banana pancakes anymore. Using what I have left, could you please make me a new recipe for breakfast? And it can now, with that context, access that specific user's inventory levels. So what they have left from when they originally went grocery shopping minus what they've already used this week in the recipes. And it will use whatever they have left to make them a new recipe that will actually change in the UI. So it will delete the whole banana pancakes from the UI with them in their specific database table, replace it with the new recipe, and then update the inventory when they check that off. It can have other nutrition questions and all of that, but basically it can directly interact with the app itself. So if you're like, hey, can you swap out this ingredient in the recipe for this? It'll do it. Hey, could you add this to my grocery list? It'll do it because it has access directly to the database. And so this is where I think it gets very interesting, because the whole goal of it is to just be realistic about it. The reason why people like to use apps like MyFitnessPal and they pay like $20 a month for it is because MyFitnessPal is reactive. So they eat this and then they log it. Mine is prescriptive. So it tells them what to eat and then they eat it. The difference between the two is MyFitnessPal doesn't care what they eat. They can eat whatever they want and then they use it. Mine, it's telling them what to eat, and people don't really like being told what to do, and they don't like following rigid rules. And so the most realistic thing that there is halfway through the week, you don't feel like eating this food anymore that you bought and you want something else. Well, you can actually use that inside the app. And so I think that's what's interesting about it, is it takes in the person's food preferences, which they can, of course, tell the AI, hey, I'm not doing dairy anymore, and it'll update it in the database. They won't get dairy recipes anymore. Hey, actually, I am doing dairy again. Also, I'm doing gluten. Boom. And it'll update that in the database. And so it's the most adaptive type of meal planning app I've ever seen. And I'm excited to use it because I think I can do a good job of combining the elements of the grocery list from Tote with the meal planning AI agent type stuff for the actual app itself. And I don't see anything like this in the market. The margins are super high because I don't have incredible AI costs. It was abnormally expensive to run Tote. I was gonna guess it would probably run about 30% margins. This one will probably run at 80. And so I'm also willing to charge a lot more because it has a lot more value proposition. So from a monetary perspective, I think it's a lot more scalable of an app and a lot more profitable of an app, and it's a lot more useful of an app. Doesn't mean I'm ditching Tote completely, but I think that I'm pivoting it to not just be about grocery lists, but to also be about the food itself, and making all of that process easier. I'll let you know how it evolves over time. I'll probably do a time-lapse video one of these days of just like, if I have a 12-hour day free at work, I'll just show the camera, put it on me, time-lapse it, and just hammer at it all day and see how it goes. But yeah, it's an unexpected pivot. I still don't know how I feel about it. I still have the original Tote file on in case I decide to change. Haven't changed anything about it. I'm just working on a different project for now, trying to integrate Tote with that, to have the grocery list functionality directly in the meal planning app, and I'll see how that goes. But I want to charge something like $12.99 a month for it and like $80 for the year. Reasoning behind that is because people will literally pay $20 a month for MyFitnessPal to count calories, which is wild. And I think that people would be willing to pay that. I would be willing to pay that, because it would increase my quality of life so much, because I'm really tired of eating ground beef, sweet potatoes, and avocados every day. I want something interesting. And if I have this database with all these great whole food recipes that I can take at any time, and I don't have to figure out, oh, what do I gotta put in them? I just heart them, boom. Oh, do I want to eat this week? Yeah, that sounds good this week. Boom, makes me a grocery list. Boom, go to the store and buy it. Boom, I don't want it anymore. Let me change it. Boom, switches it for you. It's just the most simple, straightforward, frictionless thing that you could do for somebody like me who likes to eat whole foods and meal prep. So that's the plan. That's the update for today. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. But let me know what you think. That's it.